Hello everyone. Today I will tell you about the first 6 episodes of the anime Parasite, The Doctrine of Life. Put likes if you want to continue. Mysterious parasite creatures have infiltrated the Earth whose only task is the destruction of humanity. They eat the brain and then replace the head with themselves and control the body so they can feed on other people. Some parasites eat the families and friends of their hosts. Itsum Shinichi was lucky when the parasite tried to get into his head. He listened to music with headphones. Then the parasite tried to get into the brain through the circulatory system through his hand. But the auger pulled it with a wire from the headphones. The parasite had to stay in his hand. Itsumi tried to tell his parents everything, but they did not believe him in the morning when he went down to breakfast. His hand seemed as she was speechless, and on the way to school she began to live her own life at all. He grabbed his classmate Sada Moran by the chest, which made her terribly offended. Then the incredible happened at all. Shinichi saved the girl by stopping the car that almost crushed her. At home, he decided to check if the hand really belonged to him, and when he was about to plunge a knife into her, she turned into a shapeless talking creature. She still spoke badly, so Shinichi could not question him. After that, his appetite woke up, although he had not eaten much before. His parents even decided that he was ill. Meanwhile, in the city, they began to find the dismembered corpses of the maniac who had done this was called the Butcher Killer. In the morning, Shinichi woke up and saw how his right hand turned into a parasite and was studying books. He said that he had to absorb Izumi's brain but could not, and now he has grown up and he will have to live in the place of his right hand on the way to school. He felt another representative of his species. Despite Shinichi's protests, he insisted that they find his. Another parasite ended up in the dog's body and he attacked Izumi. His right hand had to kill this creature. Meanwhile, the parasites are capturing more and more people. One of them saved the girl from rapists. And when they caught up with him to take revenge, he killed them and the rescued girl at the same time. In physical education, Shinichi reconciled with Moreno, and Nagaya didn't like it. He wanted to date her, so he decided to deal with Izumi. Nagai started beating him and Shinichi's right hand answered him, so much so that the boy ran away in fear. Now, the parasite calls itself Maigi, which means right hand. When he and Shinichi find themselves on a busy street, Migi feel that they are being watched. They go to the wasteland and the pursuer comes here. Seeing that Migi has not captured the head of the carrier, he offers to become part of his body, so they will become stronger and live longer. But Migi refuses. He is not sure that he will be able to settle into a new body. And without a carrier, he cannot survive. Migi cuts off the head of his opponent and he dies. After this incident, Shinichi went to a cafe with Moreno, and on the way back they saw hooligans mocking the kitten. Shinichi freed the unfortunate animal and drove the boys away. In Moran's eyes, he became a hero. That same night, Tameya River and Mr. A conceived a child. Their bodies were also invaded by parasites. Izumi worries that he can't tell anyone about what happened to him. Besides, he and Migi know that the killer butcher is an alien parasite. Meanwhile, Shinichi's parents begin to suspect that something is wrong with Izumi. He seems to have changed into some other. On the way to school, Migi feels him. Very strong parasite when they come to study. They are announced that there's a new teacher at school. Ryoko Tami. Shinichi understands that she is the parasite they felt. Well, Shinichi notices the river. After lessons, Tamiya invites Itsumi to the teacher's room for a conversation. She notices Migi and decides that this is a rather unusual symbiosis of a parasite and a human. The teacher makes an appointment outside the school where they can talk in peace. Tamiya comes to meet Mr. A. He does not like Shinichi. He believes that he should be killed and at the same time Migi, since he failed to capture the head of the carrier. When Izumi came back to school, Mr. Migi showed up there, felt that he had come for them. The director announced the evacuation of school children because of an outsider in the building. Mr. A had already killed several teachers. Migi wanted to hide behind other students, and then while Mr. A was busy destroying them, kill him himself, but Shinichi was against it. He ran into an empty corridor and barricaded himself there. He and Migi made a new battle plan while Izumi would have to help the parasite for this. Migi cut off the leg of a chair and gave Shinichi as a weapon. Mr. Jumped into the corridor from the lower floor. Inside the barricades created in Izumi, they both had nowhere to run. The limited space played into Shinichi's hands while Migi was fighting with Mr. and Izumi was slowly advancing. He hid the leg of the chair in his pant leg, and when they came within striking distance, Shinichi plunged the guns into the opponent's chest. Mr. did not expect such a turn. He began to bleed, and so that his body would not die, he pushed the leg further and ran away. Shinichi did not follow him. He did not want to become a murderer. Mr. A could not believe that some man had killed him. He needed to move into a new body in order to survive. He entered the laboratory where Reiko Tamiya was hiding at that moment. But when he entered, Tamiya jumped out of the window, blowing up an oxygen cylinder shortly after this incident. Life got into its rut. The school found out that Reiko was expecting a child and called for a conversation. She did not want to answer questions colleagues and therefore just quit after leaving school. She intended to finish off Shinichi because she no longer had to hide. But after talking to him, she changed her mind. She was sure that Izumi was changing because of the symbiosis with the parasite and wanted to see what it would lead to. When the river returned home, her mother came to her. Tamiya tried to deceive her, but the woman realized that her daughter was in front of her, so she had to kill her. Shinichi's parents decided to go to nature for a rest. Izumi was against it, because if he was not around, one of the parasites would be able to kill them, but Migi advised him to let them go. Away from big cities, there is less chance of a parasite attack. Then Shinichi told his parents that he would not mind if they left, and they went on vacation. A car with a man and a woman is driving along a country road. The man gets distracted and gets into an accident. His companion was not fastened and flew out through the windshield, but he remained relatively unharmed. It turned out that the woman was a parasite. When her body died, she cut off the man's head and took his body, but it was difficult to manage it. The parasite needed a female body that was more familiar to manage it. On the way home, Shinichi saw Nagaya being beaten in a doorway. He stood up for him. However, Migi was asleep at that moment, and Izumi had to deal with the hooligans himself. He was also beaten, but he did not leave. Then Kanoki Mishima, who was here, told her friends to leave him. She looked into Shinichi's eyes and saw something frightening there, because Izumi stood up for Nagaya at school. He began to be respected, but the guys from Mitsua's gang decided to teach him a lesson for this act. They grabbed Moran and started beating Shinchi when he tried to free her. Migi was ready to intervene and kill the hooligans, but Izumi restrained him. Nogai and the guys from school helped him. They taught the scoundrels a lesson. After that, Kana came up to talk to Shinichi. She began to suspect that he was hiding something. Migi said that Kana felt him. The parasite who was looking for a woman's body to move into it found a married couple. They turned out to be Shinichi's parents. His father survived the collision with the parasite. He managed to call his son and inform him that his mother had become a monster. After a while, Nabuka returned home, but Shinichi refused to believe that his mother was captured by the parasite. She took advantage of this and pierced his chest. Maiga had to move into Izumi's body to heal his wound after waking up. Shinichi felt that he had become different. His eyesight improved and he felt differently. Migi has also changed. Now he needs to sleep for 4 hours a day, the only way he can fully recover. Shinichi got a call from the hospital and was informed that his father was alive. Izumi packed up and went to him. A local girl told him the way to the hospital. Her mom rented rooms for guests and Shinichi stayed with them. His father was convinced that the monster who killed his wife he had dreamed was actually Nobuka alive, because she was seen at the hotel where the couple were staying. However, Shinichi knew who his mother had become, so he decided to keep watch at his father's hospital so that she wouldn't kill him. She would come for him, Izumi was sure, and at that moment he wanted to destroy the monster that killed his mother. Finally, Migi felt a parasite nearby, and Shinichi rushed after him. He became stronger and faster. He even managed to jump over a high wall on the beach, and at that moment Mamage realized that somehow he had changed to his carrier. That's all for today. Put likes and write comments if you want more similar videos.